Another prominent Liberal caught in a racist photo scandal. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau facing a firestorm over wearing a blackface in a 2001 photo. It happened during an Arabian Nights-themed party at a school where he was a 29-year-old teacher. Trudeau apologizing last night, but then two more examples emerged. One from high school in the 90s, where he's wearing a wig, performing a Jamaican folk song at a talent show. The other, a video showing him in blackface waving his hands around and sticking his tongue out. Trudeau forced to apologize again this afternoon. He hit all the Liberal buzzwords like intersectionality and unconscious bias, and he didn't rule out that there could be more photos.
I appreciate calling it makeup, but it was blackface, and that is just not right. I didn't see that from the layers of privilege that I have. I am wary of being definitive about this because the recent pictures that came out, I had not remembered.
This scandal's exposing Trudeau's off-the-charts hypocrisy. He's fashioned himself as the Prime Minister of woke and a liberal foreign counterweight to President Trump. Watch.
I will keep saying I'm a feminist until, as you say, it's met with, yeah, we know that, move on.
We shouldn't be talking about tolerance. We should be talking about love and acceptance and friendship and respect.
We shouldn't be afraid of the word feminist. Men and women should use it to describe themselves anytime they want.
The future of mankind. So we'd like you to look into
we
that.
like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
Okay. Jedediah, you went from woke to a joke in about one night, and do you think he can survive?
This guy is layers deep of insufferable. I mean, you know, some politicians are insufferable. This guy has layers of it. It's crazy to me, this third instance, he was 29 years old.
Yeah.
He was a teacher. That's a grown man. That's not a student in high school that you could say, oh, you know, I was an idiot kid. You're 29 years old, you're grown, and you still don't know better. My favorite part of this is the quote he gives where he says, I didn't consider it racist at the time, but now we know better. That was in 2001. Yeah. This was not a photo that somebody took in 1960 of someone where you could say, you know, the times were different. People didn't realize the severity of what they were doing. They didn't realize how offensive it was. In 2001, every single one of us at this table was an adult in 2001 who knew well and good enough that you don't put blackface on and behave this way as a grown adult teaching. Also, you're a teacher. What kind of example are you setting? So this guy, you know, with all his PC nonsense and always trying to seem so wonderful and, oh, I sugarcoat all my words not to offend anyone, he's bracing us for more stuff that's coming. He wouldn't have said there could be more photos. I guarantee you're going to see something even worse than this coming down the pike.
Should he resign, Juan?
No, but, you know, I feel almost like, you know, as a black person, I should stay out of this conversation. I'm interested to learn because I think what Jedediah said is exactly right. I think that if you're 29 years old, you should know about the history of things like Birth of a Nation and minstrel shows and, you know, depicting the other minorities, and it could be Orientalism, as it's called, or depicting Irish people as drunks, or, you know, you could go on with all the language that we in America know too well. But the whole idea is that the other is lazy, dumb, you know, not a good worker, not to be trusted, and it's all a basis for racist behavior, for excluding people. And, you know, the problem here is, I find it so interesting as a, you know, from a political analyst point of view, he is being attacked in Canada as not as advertised. That is the slogan being used by conservatives in Canada to attack Trudeau. They're in a very close race. I think the election is October 21st. And he has not been able to move ahead of his conservative challenger. And now the question is, what about the Liberals in Canada? So you depict him as a hypocrite, but do Liberals in Canada now start to agree with the Conservatives in Canada that, well, maybe this guy shouldn't be the sword carrier for liberal ideology? He previously has made his cabinet, a cabinet that he says looks like Canada because it's diverse, it's 1/2 women.
Right.
But is he for real?
So you don't think that he should resign? Now, what about, you know, a Republican politician in 2001 had a blackface like that? Do you still think they should hang on and fight it?
Well,
The way Trudeau is?
No, I think that's a different dynamic, Jesse. I think
It's a different dynamic when it's a different political party?
yeah, in this country, for sure. You couldn't. That's why you're asking the question.
But why do you think that is?
Because I think Republicans, especially with this president, have a difficult history and a different path when it comes to race. Governor
That's not
Ivey
fair,
of
Juan.
Well, I don't know if it was the
That's not
Republican Party one that freed the slaves.
Oh,
Let's
stop.
just
But
be honest about the
Governor
history.
Ivey of Alabama just had one of these incidents. She's still in office.
Okay, well, I would disagree.
That she's not in office?
No, I would disagree with your interpretation of it matters if it's a Republican or Democrat. It's bad no matter which party does it. Dana.
So the Canadian election was already very close. Aside from this incident, there's a big ethics investigation that's been dogging the Trudeau administration from the beginning. So far, the French media has stayed very much in his corner. That's where his political foundation is, up in the Quebec area. But remember, he was kind of Canada's President Obama. He was hope and change, and he was the political dynasty of the Trudeaus. The English media, however, is really going after him very hard. But if you think of Ralph Northam of Virginia, the governor there, people have pretty short memories. If you can weather the storm, remember, Northam was like, I'm not really sure if that's me. I don't really know. I'm not really sure. Trudeau has a different tact. He's like, I'm just going to go all in and apologize and hope that he can just get through it.
Yeah, I mean, that was in 1984, Ralph Northam. This was in 2001. I think it's a little different situation. What do you think about, you have Trudeau. You have some of these Hollywood celebrities, Sarah Silverman, Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
A lot of the actors have been in blackface, but, and they're always a lot of the most vocal people when it comes to accusing other people of being racist. Can you accuse someone of being a racist if you wear blackface?
I don't think you can. And it's amazing to watch the media kung fu. Last night in Trudeau's initial apology, when he was like, and then I might have done Deo. Like, seriously, you did the banana song? Like, it's crazy. Like, he wasn't even done apologizing, and Don Lemon on CNN's like, isn't that nice? He apologized. Trump would never apologize. It was insane. Trump could come out of a burning building carrying orphans, right? And they'd be like, why did you start the fire? And what's with the black on the face, Donald? He would never, and the Trudeau thing, there's more coming. I guarantee there's more
But
coming.
also, like, how many times do you dress up as an adult?
Exactly.
This is
It's like your
three
buddy who
now.
dresses up like a woman on Halloween and then he does it next Halloween
Right.
and next Halloween. And you're like,
there might be
you got an issue.
There's a thing there.
I think he thinks of himself as Canada's Barack Obama, but he's actually Canada's Beto O'Rourke. Because he sounds completely phony, completely orchestrated. I don't believe anything he says when he talks about this need for, diversity and inclusion. I don't believe him when he speaks. And his past and what you're seeing as a reality of what was going on in his life as a grown adult man reflects that. Whereas, and I think Beto does the same thing here. He gets up on these podiums and he says all this stuff, and you just feel like you're sitting at home, like somebody else wrote it and he's delivering it, and it's not authentic.
Yeah.
That's how I've always felt about this guy, and his past is proving me true.
But what do you guys think when he speaks about, and I'm going to just assume that he's speaking from the heart. I'm not going to call the guy a hypocrite. He says unconscious racism, sort of implicit, casual racism. He just thought, he didn't understand how privileged he was and how other people might interpret this.
Okay,
29?
Juan.
Yeah.
Okay. Be serious for a second.
Yeah, I am. Man.
It's 2001.
Right.
You can have so much privilege. You can have privilege coming out of your eyeballs and still know that blackface in 2001 is not a good move.
I think
agree.
we'll probably
There's
discover
no
he was
such-
subconsciously working through that issue.
So if-
Only
Yeah.
by dressing in blackface can I understand the racism.
Michael, if you're invited to Arabian Nights themed party, would you think to yourself, hey, I better be careful?
I'd go as a camel. Like safe.
Just a couple humps, you're clean, Or you wear the robe, Juan. You wear the robe, you don't have to do the blackface.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me that he did this twice before, and it occurred to him, let me do it again.
Yes.
No, also,
Remember
no,
when
he
his
did.
family went? When he was prime minister and he went to India and his whole family dressed up in the Indian outfits, but they didn't.
They
darken their
overdid it a
faces.
little bit in
Yes.
India.
I mean, they like to dress up.
He likes to dress
He likes
up.
to dress up.
It's just maybe a little too much.